If you're driving on any of these tires right now, this video is going to hurt. Most drivers have never once asked what's actually inside the tire holding their car to the road. They walk in, hear a price, and say, okay, that's the whole process. No research, no second look. Just a number on a sticker and a handshake on the one part of the car nobody thinks to question. The tire industry runs on one thing: your trust in a name you never checked. A logo you've seen for years feels safe. That feeling is the product they're really selling you, not the rubber underneath it. 7 brands, ranked from disappointing to downright dangerous. Stick around, because the worst one on this list might already be sitting under your own car. Number 7. Chaoyang. Chaoyang built its name on bike tires. Then someone at the company decided the same rubber belongs on cars and trucks too. Owners on tire forums say the same thing over and over. The tread wears down fast, and it wears down unevenly. One part goes bald while the rest still looks new. That's not just annoying. That's a tire losing its grip right when a driver needs it most, in the rain, on a sharp turn. A tire that wears unevenly isn't just wearing out faster than it should. It's wearing out in a way that makes the car harder to control while it's still on the road. The ride is louder too, rougher than other cheap brands. That noise is the tire telling on itself. It was never built for a car. It was built for a bike. The early trip back to the shop isn't free. You already paid once. Now you're paying again, months ahead of schedule. You're not buying a car tire. You're buying a bike tire with a bigger price tag. That's one way this brand fails you. 6 to go, and it only gets worse. A bike tire holds up a rider and rolls straight. A car tire holds up 2 tons of steel, grips through a hard turn, and stops all that weight on a wet road. 2 different jobs. Chaoyang mastered the easy one and sold you the hard one anyway. The company never had to prove it could handle the harder job. It just borrowed a name people already trusted from the bike aisle, moved that name onto a car aisle, and hoped nobody would ask the obvious question. Number 6. Accelera. The name promises speed. The tests say otherwise. One outside test placed Accelera's own top tire far outside the top half, up against almost 200 rivals in the same class. Owners report sudden loss of grip under hard acceleration. Strange, for a tire named after acceleration. Like naming your restaurant fast service and making everyone wait an hour. Braking complaints follow the same pattern: longer stopping distances, worse once the road is wet. A tire that can't grip when you speed up and can't stop when you slow down isn't just disappointing. It's failing at both ends of driving, the part where you go and the part where you stop. Go check the brand's own website. No real materials list, no clear warranty terms, just a picture of the tread. When a company won't tell you what's inside its own tire, that silence is the answer. You're not buying speed. You're buying a name that borrowed the word fast and hoped you'd stop asking questions. That's 2 ways this brand fails you: grip and stopping power, and we're only at number 6. Stopping power is not a place where close enough is good enough. A few extra feet is the difference between tapping the brakes and hitting something. That's not a comfort complaint, like a bumpy ride or a little extra noise. That's the one number on this entire list that can decide whether a driver walks away from a bad moment or doesn't. Number 5. Kelly. Kelly has been around for decades. Drivers still see the name and think, trusted American tire. Here's what most people don't know. Kelly is owned by Goodyear, and Kelly wasn't kept alive because it's a great tire. It was kept alive to be the cheap option, the one Goodyear sells to buyers who won't pay full Goodyear price. That's not a rumor, that's the plan. Keep a bargain name on the shelf so the price shopper still walks out with something familiar, even if it isn't the company's best work. Every big tire maker runs this same play. A top brand for the buyer chasing quality, and a second, cheaper name for the buyer chasing a discount, built by the exact same company in the exact same factories to 2 very different standards. Recent studies on driver satisfaction put Kelly near the bottom for all-season tires, the exact kind most people drive on every day. Shorter tread life, rougher ride, compared to the brand's own parent, sitting right next to it on the same shelf. You're not buying Goodyear for less. You're buying the tire Goodyear built to be sold for less, and the corners it cut are the whole reason the price is lower. A full test lost. Worse than anything so far. A familiar name at a price that feels too good isn't a gift. Big companies don't lower prices out of kindness. They lower the parts you can't see, and then they let the name on the sidewall do the rest of the convincing for them. Number 4. Uniroyal. the quietest disappointment on this list. Uniroyal is owned by Michelin. That Michelin, the one that runs some of the most trusted tire tests on Earth. You'd think some of that skill gets passed down. It doesn't. In the most recent major satisfaction study, Uniroyal finished dead last among all-season tires, not near the bottom. Last. Then it happened again in winter and snow tires, one of the most important categories a driver buys all year. Two categories most drivers touch every day, one at a time, all 4 seasons, and this one name failed both of them at once. 2 tests, 2 last-place finishes. The same company selling some of the best-tested tires on Earth is also selling one of the worst-rated tires on Earth, under a different name on the same shelf. The price gap barely matches the quality gap. A little saved, a lot lost, and nothing on the shelf tells you these 2 names share an owner. You're not buying a cheaper Michelin, you're buying the tire Michelin didn't want wearing its own name. Nobody tells you that at the counter either. 2 brands can sit 6 inches apart on the same shelf, made by the same company, tested by the same industry, and land on opposite ends of every ranking that matters. The only thing standing between you and knowing that is 1 extra minute of looking it up. If this is opening your eyes even a little, hit subscribe now. Coming up, the top 3, and this is where it stops being disappointing and starts being dangerous. Number 3, Westlake. The name you've probably seen the most, because it's everywhere. On cheap new cars. On used lot deals. On bulk offers at tire shops nationwide. Owned by one of the largest rubber companies in China, built to undercut everyone on price. The complaints repeat. Weak grip in the rain. A harsher ride. Road noise that climbs with every mile. Drivers on forums call it unsafe, risky, often enough that it stops sounding like bad luck. One driver, describing a tire that failed on the highway, said everything they'd read online had already warned them. Search the brand name next to almost any state, and you'll find the same 3 or 4 complaints repeating themselves in different words, from different drivers, in different cities, who never talk to each other. The price is genuinely tempting. Real money saved walking in the door. But tires are the one part of a car where the savings show up exactly where you don't want them. In the stopping distance, in a downpour, at highway speed, when there's no second try. This brand isn't hiding in some corner of the internet either. It's sold at big-name stores nationwide, which is exactly why it's more dangerous than a brand nobody's heard of. A tire almost nobody buys can only hurt a few people. A tire everybody buys is failing at scale. You're not buying a bargain. You're buying the easiest version of the risk to find. A small, unknown brand making a bad tire hurts a few people quietly. A brand this common, repeating the same complaints on this many driveways, is failing loudly, and most of those drivers won't know it until the day it matters. That's the real trap with a brand this big. It doesn't feel risky. It feels normal, because everyone around you seems to be driving on the same name. Normal isn't the same as safe. It just means the risk is spread across more cars. Number 2, Geostar. This is where disappointing turns into alarming. Geostar is the rock-bottom line from a bigger tire company. Mechanics report a clear pattern: early balding, where the tread goes smooth years too soon, and tread separation, where the outer layer starts peeling off the rest of the tire, sometimes while the car is still moving. In one outside comparison against other cheap brands, Geostar landed dead last. Not near the bottom, last. Owners describe losing grip mid-turn, a tread pattern that fights the road instead of gripping it. When the same tire keeps showing up at the bottom of test after test, that's not one unlucky batch off the factory line. That's the design itself. Tread separation doesn't come with a warning light. One day the tire looks fine. The next, a piece of it is gone, at speed, on a highway, nowhere safe to pull over. If you're driving on Geostar right now, go check your tread tonight, not next week. You're not buying extra miles for less money. You're buying a countdown you can't see. Separation builds up inside the tire, in places you were never meant to check yourself. The name on the sidewall is the only warning you get, and by the time most drivers learn to read that warning, they've already been driving on it for months. And now, the worst tire brand on this list. Number 1, Sumitomo. Every other brand here failed somewhere and got by somewhere else. Sumitomo didn't. In the most recent major study, covering all-season, all-terrain, summer and winter tires, Sumitomo landed at or near dead last in every single test. 4 tests, 4 last-place finishes. Compare that to Michelin, which earned the highest score possible in all 4 of those same tests, same study, same rules. One company got everything right, the other got everything wrong. Both sit on the same shelf, priced close enough that plenty of drivers grab the cheaper one and never think twice. No warning label, no fine print, just two boxes on the same wall, and only one of them tells the whole truth. Name one other thing in your life you'd keep buying after it let you down 4 times running. Not a phone, not a mattress, not a pair of shoes. This is the tire connecting your car to the road in the rain, the snow, the heat, and a normal dry afternoon, and it fails every single one of those tests. You're not buying a tire brand. You're buying the only name on this list that never once got it right. That's what separates Sumitomo from everyone else on this list. Chaoyang failed at one thing. Accelera failed at 2. Kelly and Uniroyal each lost a full test. Sumitomo lost all 4, in the same study, against the same field, with nowhere left to hide. There's no version of this where Sumitomo gets the benefit of the doubt. A brand can have one bad test and still be worth a look. A brand can't fail 4 tests, in 4 different conditions, against the same field, and still be an accident. 7 brands, weak sidewalls, uneven wear, companies renting out a trusted name to sell off their leftover work. One brand that failed every test in every category there is. None of this was random, and none of it was hidden that well either, once you knew where to look. The lesson isn't that cheap tires are always bad. Some are just fine. The lesson is a familiar name on the wall doesn't promise good quality anymore. Sometimes it's the real thing. Sometimes it's that same company's cheap twin, wearing a different name so you won't ask questions. Before your next set, do the 2-minute check. Look up the brand's recent satisfaction scores. Check if it's a cheap line owned by a bigger company. Read what real drivers say about wear and wet road grip, not just the price tag. None of this costs you anything but a few minutes, and every bit of it is sitting online for free. Your tires are the only part of the car actually touching the road. Everything else, the brakes, the airbags, the seatbelt, depends on 4 small patches of rubber doing their job. Don't hand that job to a brand you never checked. It takes 2 minutes. It costs nothing. And it's the difference between a tire that quietly does its job for years and one that's already counting down to the day it fails you. Did your brand make this list? Tell me in the comments, and tell me which tire brand you trust the most, because next time we might be ranking the best ones instead, and this time you'll actually know why they earned the spot.